There are good people and there are bad people in the world. That shouldn't come as a surprise to you. If you've been around long enough, you know that to be true. I want to give you some insight into who the worst form of human being is in the world, and that is none other than politicians. For the most part, there's always exceptions to the rule. There's no question. But the higher they are on that food chain of politics, the worst form of individual they are. That's just the fact. If you haven't seen that yet, it's time to wake up because it has been painfully obvious for at least the last 10 or 12 years. Since Donald Trump entered into politics, the gloves have come off. People have lost their minds. Politicians are no longer trying to cover it up. They're no longer trying to behave one way in front of a camera and another way when the camera's off. They are showing you in full view exactly how they operate and to what levels they will stoop to. What's the latest? I'll give you two simple examples that happened just this past week. Number one, Marilyn Gladu, longtime conservative, one of four conservatives that in the past few weeks or couple of months have crossed the floor to become a liberal from a conservative. I want you to understand, the Canadian people voted, and they voted to give the Liberals a minority government. That's if you believe in the integrity of the electoral process, which I don't subscribe to. But let's run with that. They gave them a minority government. And then that very same government went behind closed doors and put deals together with conservatives, offered them all kinds of incentives, which include the obvious: money, power, fortune, and fame. That's it. Offer them the right amount, and eventually they'll all cross over. And that's what they did. They did dirty backroom deals. And enough of these low-life politicians who have zero values and zero morals and zero ethics crossed over. And then what happens? They have the best speechwriters in the world writing from them and preparing for them the best answers possible because they know that they're about to be investigated. They know that they're going to have microphones shoved into their faces and ask them, but wait a second, Miss Gladu, last week alone, you were tearing apart the Liberal government. You were dumping on all of their policies and you were belittling the Prime Minister, just talking about how useless this individual was. And now you're crossing the floor? What gives? Now you're singing his praises as though last week it was a different person we were listening to? What happened? And they had pre-programmed answers for every single one of those questions at the ready. And as soon as she got asked the question, she gave that prepackaged answer and she said, I'm done with you. Next question. As soon as she was given that question about that policy that she flip-flopped on, she gave again that prepackaged answer and she moved on to the next question. She ran those interviews. That's how these politicians work. Catch them outside in the parking lot. Catch them outside of these formal press gatherings and try and put a microphone in their face like the guys at Rebel News do, which do a phenomenal job, and obviously they pay the price as a result of that because they break rank, they break the role, they don't fall in line with the rest of the press corps that are in the pockets of these politicians, and for that they pay a very heavy price, but they do it, and they should get all of our support, by the way, because they do the heavy lifting, but they pay a heavy price. Now, that was just one example. There were four who crossed the aisle and became liberals overnight. You have to understand that they are showing you clearly that they have zero morals, values, and ethics. They stand for nothing. These people will sell you out all day long. They enter into politics to try and gain power and fame and fortune. That's it. And a comfortable life where they can get away with anything. And that's exactly what happens. They're never held accountable. It never happens. They will continue. The liberals will get their majority government and they will continue to force policies down your throat, just like Justin Trudeau did when he made all these order by council, all these overnight laws that he enacted without any opposition, without any debate in the House of Commons, with nothing. Just, I feel like it today, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to grab all these guns from these legal gun owners. Despite the fact that the legal gun owners are not the problem. 95% of the crimes that are committed by guns that were imported from the U.S. and by criminals, not the guns. The guns don't kill people. I hear people often saying guns kill. Guns don't kill. Guns only kill as much as forks make people fat. It's not the cutlery that make people fat. It's the people who are using the cutlery. It's not the gun that kills. It's the criminal behind the gun that pulls the trigger. They're the ones doing the killing. But it's so much harder to have good social programs in place. It's so much harder to actually invest in the welfare of your citizenry to make sure that they're emotionally and mentally stable and that they're not under such severe pressure that they can't afford basic standards of living that force them into a life of crime. That's too difficult because they're busy taking it all for themselves. So what do? They blame a hunk of metal, a piece of steel that you put on the floor, and it does nothing. It doesn't get up and kill on its own accord. It needs that person who is angry and mad and depressed and sad and all these other emotional issues to take that gun and go out and commit crimes. But dealing with it the right way is too difficult. So how do they put on a show for the public who refuse to use their brain and get educated on the subject? We're taking away guns. We're banning guns, as though that's going to solve the problem. Well, I got news for you. Drugs have been illegal for a very long time. It doesn't stop people from selling cocaine and heroin on the streets. It doesn't make it go away. People without driver's licenses drive. People who get drunk drive. Yes, it's illegal, but it doesn't stop them from doing it. What stops people from doing it is good policies, is proper social services, is making sure that people can live good quality lives. When you do that, you will lower your crime rates exponentially because there's no reason to commit crimes. There are always going to be people who are corrupt in their ideologies, who are corrupt in their way of thinking. There are always going to be criminals in the world. But if you want to have a real impact on how many are out there actually committing these crimes, then invest in the people and not in taking away their rights. That will only make it worse. What's the second example? Second example of political corruption comes from our friends at the United Nations. This wonderful body of people who are making policies for the world. They're representing the world body, and they're going to come out and make all these wonderful rules and regulations. And we've seen time and time again how they have made such terrible decisions that have affected everybody. And they just made another one this week. What was it? Let me give you some insight. The United Nations chooses countries to be on the boards deciding the future of human rights, to make rules and regulations, deciding how we should increase the value and the quality of human life in the world, and specifically women. And which countries did they choose to be those very representatives? You guessed it, Iran. Number one, right? Cuba. Fantastic. And you know who else? Our friends in communist China. They're going to tell the world how to increase the quality of human life by increasing human rights. And do you know who voted for that? Canada, the UK, Australia, France, all of these Western democracies who have supposedly been investing in quality of life and human rights. They've chosen these people who are the exact opposite, the worst possible decision. It's not that they chose somebody that wasn't quite the best choice. You could have chosen somebody who had demonstrated a little bit more willingness to be able to increase human rights. No, they went straight to the bottom of the barrel. What's it like? It's like selecting the KKK to decide the rights of Black and visible minorities in America. It's no different. It's exactly the same. You're taking the people who slaughter innocent lives, who take away the rights of women and cover them from head to toe and make them null and void. And suddenly they're the ones who are going to champion women's rights. They're the ones who are going to be the example for the free world. What's the message? The message is you cannot trust the United Nations. They are the representatives of politics for the planet. And if it comes down to local politics in your riding and in your country, you can't trust them either. What's the message? The message is this: take care of number one. Take care of you and take care of those who you are responsible for. Make sure that the decisions that you make are always contemplating your creator. There is a God that created this world and holds everybody to account. And he gave us a Torah. He gave us a Bible with a complete set of instructions, an operating manual of how to behave in this world, of what to do and what not to do. Take that manual and study it, learn it, make it a part of who you are, because in there you will learn exactly how to behave and how to conduct yourself, how to make this world a utopia, how to operate in an honest and honorable way, the opposite of the way that politicians operate, because they have an evil inclination, and the evil inclination overrules them specifically because they don't learn from that Torah. They are not godly beings. They don't fear God. They don't love God. God is nowhere in their lexicon. They don't contemplate him for a second. The more you contemplate your creator, the more you contemplate the rules and regulations, the operating manual, the do's and the don't do's, the happier you will be and the happier your surrounding will be, those who you impact. And that's our job, my friends. That's why it's called the Torah. In Hebrew, Torah comes from the root word hora'ah. A hora'ah is an instruction, and that's what it is. Torat Chaim is an instruction for life. If you learn Torah properly, which you all need to do, find yourself a qualified teacher, a qualified rabbi or rebbitzin, and learn with them. And they will tell you, this is what you need to do from the second you're born to the second you die, to every situation that you will ever encounter in your life. It is covered in the Torah. Nothing is omitted. Learn it, study it, and you will learn from the Creator. There is no better person to tell you how to use a microwave and to get the best functionality out of it, to utilize 99% of its capacity than its engineer, than the company that created it. That's why they give you a manual. If a manual is going to come in a $50 microwave, then you better believe that the creator of the highest order is going to give you a manual from which to operate. He's not going to drop you in and say, sink or swim. Figure it out. Let me know how it goes for you. He's going to give you a detailed manual. You want to succeed? Follow the instructions. You want to maximize? Most people still have 12 o'clock flashing on their microwaves. They don't even know how to change the time. All they know how to do is to reheat their food or to make popcorn, but nobody realizes they can prepare entire meals from scratch, and they can defrost, and they can do all kinds of wonderful things in a microwave. I saw a guy the other day using a kiln. There's a kiln attachment that you can put into your microwave, and it turns into a pottery kiln. Can you imagine? People don't know these things. But if you read, if you study, if you investigate, suddenly you realize that you can maximize the utility of this appliance. It's the same thing with your life. You want to maximize the utility of your life? Read God's Torah. Read the instruction manual. Not only will it tell you what to do, but it'll also tell you what not to do. Just like the instruction manual in a toaster oven tells you, don't keep it by an open water source. Don't plug it in and keep it on the edge of your bathtub, because it falls in, you're toast. It's the same idea. Pun intended, I guess. It's the same idea. It also tells you how to avoid pitfalls. Don't do these things, because if you do them, you're going to end up hurt or dead. So avoid these things and do more of these things, because when you do these things, your life will be that much better. What's the best outcome here is that our politicians start to learn from the Torah. But I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. So in the meantime, you worry about you. You make sure that you're learning and that you're growing. And despite what they're doing to the rest of the world, you behave in a way that is godlike with the people who are around you. And we will make sure to take the power out of their hands so that we turn this world into what it was intended to always be. That power is with us, not with a few slimy politicians. That's the message for today, my friends. If you like the podcast, it's online. You can download it. It's there for you on all the platforms. We're across 17 different platforms. It's called The Trust Factor with Jesse Revivo. That's me. I share this kind of wisdom every morning. It gets your day started right. When we're surrounded by corruption, we're surrounded by minds who don't know the difference between good and bad, right and wrong. We need clarity. We need moral and ethical clarity. And that only comes from the Torah. I share that wisdom, and I take 3,500-year-old wisdom and bring it to the year 2026 and beyond. That's the message for today, my friends. Please download and share the podcast, any of the episodes, any of the videos that you see. Comment on them, share them, and like them so that more people can be exposed to the opposing message, to the real truth, and not what the corrupt minds and leadership are trying to convince you is true. Have an amazing day.